This is a paid advertisement on behalf of Athena Gold. What's going on, guys? This is Aaron from Departures Capital, and we're here with Kobe Kushner, CEO of Athena Gold. Pleasure to have you on today, Kobe. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on, Aaron. I'm excited to do my first interview with you.
Definitely. So, for those who may be unfamiliar, can you start by giving us an overview of Athena Gold, what the company is focused on, and what sets it apart in the junior gold exploration space?
Sure. Athena Gold is a grassroots gold exploration company. We're focused on making new discoveries. I think what sets us a little bit apart from lots of other companies of our stage is that our asset base, it's generally not assets that people have heard before. So what I mean by that is our flagship Laird Lake project in Red Lake, for example, that's not something that many people have heard of. It's never been recycled through the Vancouver Stock Exchange. It's we're about making new discoveries. That's where I think that we'll get the most reward for our shareholders. Another thing that sets us apart is, we're not exactly market guys. If people look at our team, there's a lot of technical savvy people on the team that are driving exploration. Um, it's not a stock promote, it's not a stock scheme. We're all about trying to reward investors, not because they bought in early into a promotion. They get rewarded on the back of good exploration results. That's the company we're trying to structure here and what we're trying to create. So myself, I'm a mining engineer, for example, or VPX and exploration manager. Both have master's degrees in geology and have quite a lot of experience exploring and with the type of geology that we're dealing with.
So now let's talk about your flagship project, which is the Laird Lake project in Red Lake. What makes this asset particularly promising, and what kind of exploration results have you seen or are targeting in the near term?
Yeah, sure. So it's worth diving into a bit of Red Lake first to understand why this asset is special. But in summary, what makes it stand out is it's very low exploration maturity. There hasn't been much historic drilling here, and there hasn't been a discovery here yet. And the reason for that, to understand the reason for that, involves understanding a bit of Red Lake. Now, I won't get too deep into the weeds on the rocks, but the Red Lake Gold Camp. It's a famous high-grade gold camp in Ontario. It's the home of some of the highest grade gold mines in the world. And what's key about it is that they've been mining here since the 1920s, and over 90% of all gold ever taken out of the ground here occurs within 300 meters of the contact between two major rock groups in this camp. You've got the Balmer rocks and you have the Confederation rocks, and where these rocks meet, within 300 meters of that on the Balmer side is where you want to be. That's the main control for all gold that's been mined to date in this camp, for most gold that's been mined to date in this camp. So historically, if you were not looking in the Balmer rocks, and if you were not looking within 300 meters of this mapped contact, you were ignored. And I used to work in this camp 10 kilometers away from the Laird Lake project. And Laird Lake, what's special about it is it's got this 10-kilometer extent of this Balmer-Confederation contact that's barely been touched. And the reason for that is because historically it was all mapped as Confederation. It was a recent master's thesis written by a former colleague of mine. Um, so it's a new understanding of this project where she said, wow, you know what, these rocks are actually Balmer rocks here. And she mapped out as part of her master's thesis what I believe is the last beachfront property in Red Lake. And in terms of what results we've seen to date is we're finding visible gold right where it's supposed to be, right along or close to that contact that she mapped out as part of her master's research. So in our preliminary sampling done late last year, we sampled 373 grams per ton gold sitting there on surface, which is incredibly high grade. Um, Obviously, it's a grab sample, You don't really know what things look like until you drill it. Before we go out and drill it, we're doing all of our homework first. So we actually just wrapped up a 2,000 plus sample till survey, which is quite extensive. We're doing it on a very tight grid, 100 by 100 meter spacing, in parts of the survey. And I think that will help produce a heat map of gold anomalies, and it'll better inform where we want to drill this upcoming winter.
So, with gold prices holding strong and investor interest in safe haven assets rising, how is Athena Gold positioning itself to take advantage of the current market conditions then?
Sure, yeah, gold has been on a tear, and it was a big deal when it hit that 3,000 bucks
Mm.
an ounce. That's huge, and it's held steady above that. Um, what we haven't seen is the same kind of move in the junior equities. Now, some of them have started to move, but I think they're more so just getting started, and not all of them have trickled upwards. There's still a huge disparity between the GDXJ, the junior gold miners ETF, versus gold prices. So I think that in general, juniors have more room to move. It's been a rough few years for gold equities and for mining equities in general. And I think that's starting now to change. So previously, just 2 years ago, you can drill an amazing hole and the market wouldn't care. If anything, investors might use that as a selling opportunity, um, even if the results were good. So you weren't getting rewarded for doing good exploration work. And I think now the market is starting to pay attention. Now you can actually get rewarded for making game-changing discoveries. So that's how we're positioning ourselves now. We want to ensure that when we poke our first hole into Laird Lake, that we have a maximum chance of making a new grassroots discovery in Red Lake.
So, you've recently taken on the role of CEO. What's your vision for the company over the next 12 to 24 months? Are there any key milestones or catalysts that investors should be watching for?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I mentioned before that we just completed this 2,000 sample program. We're still awaiting assays for that. And I'm excited to put the news out there on what the results of that till program actually looks like. Because that till program came in ahead of schedule and under budget. And then what's going to happen is, after we have all the results from that, after we know where we want to drill, we'd like to be drilling this thing in the winter. And that's, ultimately what people should look out for are first till samples and then updates on that maiden drill program.
So now, many junior explorers struggle to stand out in a crowded sector. How is Athena approaching capital markets, shareholder engagement, and strategic partnerships to build long-term value?
Sure, I mean, this company historically, it's been around since 2009. I got involved kind of late last year, formally took on the reins only a couple months ago. But historically, this company did not do much marketing. It started off as a US company. We re-domiciled it to Canada. And before that, it's only been on the Canadian exchange for 3 years. It was a OTC company before that. So again, we really haven't done much marketing to date, and now that's changing. We've started going to conferences now to get the word out there and started presenting at conferences. I've engaged with digital marketing like Departures Capital, like with you right
Mhm.
now. So that interviews like this are relatively newer for the company.
Great. Well, appreciate all the info, Kobe. We've got an understanding now of what you guys do, and we'll definitely be having you back on for more updates. Best of luck with everything. This year it's going to be an exciting time. It's an exciting time for gold.
Absolutely. Thanks, Aaron.